Hey everyone, happy Saturday. Welcome to Virtual Vegfest Live. We're pretty excited today because we're headed to Canada, which makes us international, which is really cool. But first, let's say thank you to Sun Warrior for sponsoring this week's Virtual Vegfest Lives and the fact that you can get a 25% discount if you use the code Virtual Vegfest in all quotes when you go purchase. And the link is down there scrolling on the screen as well. And then, of course, thank you to the Plant Based Network for being our partner. And you can go shop at virtualvegfest.com 24/7 every day. Go support our vendors. And we really appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Cat in my lap. Sorry, live. That's what happens. If you're watching and you have any questions or comments, please feel free to share them and we'll definitely talk about them. But we're going to bring Shawn on because Shawn Stratton is our guest today. And he is the founder of the International Vegan Film Festival. And oddly enough, he wrote to me a while ago to say, hey, do you want to bring this to your city? And I was like, I'm skeptical. Let me see if another organizer does this and see how it goes. And then Carla did it in South Carolina. She organizes the Hilton Head Veg Fest, and I followed up with Carla, and she was like, oh, it was good. And then you bring us to like the Plant Based Network, and then Shawn's like involved with that. And then here we are. And then now, like, his shirts are on virtualvegfest.com. That's how, to answer one of the questions, how you can get an International Vegan Film Festival shirt is you can go to virtualvegfest.com. They're recycled, which was a priority for Shawn to make sure that we didn't put anything into the universe that, already existed. We took something and recycled it. They're tagless. They're black with white writing. And they're being made here in North Carolina, and they're being shipped to whoever wants to buy one on demand. So if you buy one, they'll get made and they'll get mailed out to you, which is pretty cool. So Shawn has got this festival, and he's an athlete, and he's got a podcast. I'm going to throw it to him to share more about who he is. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here today. Yeah, where to start? Excuse me. A bit about me. I'm a dad of three girls. I've got three girls that are 2, 8, and 7 and 9. 2, 7, and 9, and that's the biggest thing in my life always is that I'm a dad, but and a husband as well. But yeah, I live in Ottawa, Canada. Grew up in Newfoundland on the far east coast of Canada, and I've had a couple careers. My first career was in outdoor education for 15 years. I led wilderness expeditions around the world, mountaineering and sea kayaking, backpacking, focused on teaching leadership in the wilderness on these expeditions, and lived the dream. That was a great career. And then I moved out of that and moved into kind of more leadership consulting with corporations and organizations, doing keynote speaking on leadership topics, sharing some of my stories from expeditions, things like that. And I still do some of that leadership keynote speaking now. I wrote a book in 2013, Teams on the Edge, and my next leadership book should be out before Christmas. And yeah, about 5 years ago, we went plant-based. My wife started it, and the family followed. And 3 years ago, I came up with the idea for the film festival, and now here we are. It's kind of my fourth child, and it's taking over my life, and having fun with it.
That's awesome. So the exact date of the festival is October, right? What is
Yeah,
October what?
October 7th to the 10th, so for a week,
All
so
right,
Saturday
very
to Saturday.
cool. That's awesome. And about how many films? Wait. Okay. We have a weird comment. So how many films are going to be during the festival?
Yeah, we've got 28 films this year. It's great that we've gone online this year. It's the first year we're going virtual, which, at the time when COVID hit, we were all kind of bummed out that we're probably not going to have an in-theater event like we've had the last couple of years. But, with any challenge comes opportunity, and I think it's an outstanding opportunity now to move our festival virtually this year. And instead of, a lot less films that we've shown in the last couple of years at the festival in Ottawa because of timing and theater timing, now we have no real limit. And so we've picked the 28 best films, and I think it's almost 15 hours of films that we have.
Oh, that's incredible. So is there a cost to watch?
Yeah, so there's the tickets are going to be $10 per block. There's, I believe, 12 or 13 blocks, and each block is about 90 minutes. So a block may be a feature film or maybe a collection of short films or shorter films, or maybe, a short film and a 50-minute film. So about 90 minutes. They're about $10 each. or a pass for 50.
Okay.
And so if a pass, you can watch it all.
All right, that's what I was going to say. So
Yeah,
$50 and you've got the whole festival in your hands at your
exactly.
computer so you can
Canadian
watch.
prices as well.
Oh, Canadian
Yeah,
prices.
so it's
So
even
it's
cheaper in US dollars.
yes, it is a little cheaper in US dollars. And then can you watch like is it only during the week or can you watch afterwards?
Yeah, just for that week that it's available, and it after the 17th of October, it all comes down. So you've got to fit your viewing in that week.
No,
You've
that,
got to
that
fit your viewing in. Hopefully, we'll be able to start up our world tour. I can tell you a little bit about that we've done in the past, and perhaps in the new year when COVID hopefully goes away or goes away enough that we can open up theaters fully, we can resume our world tour, and films could be available through that.
So what is the world tour? It's a tease.
Yeah, the world tour, it's a bit of a tease, right? Yeah. Um, the world tour, it's something that I started right from the beginning. It was really important that I really wanted our festival not just to be kind of a once a year event, a weekend or a week a year. I wanted it to be a full year endeavor. Uh, and I've modeled it after the Banff Mountain Film Festival. It's a film festival that's been going for over 30 years. It's a mountain adventure film festival out of Banff, Alberta. It's great if you're into that stuff, to check it out. But they have a world tour, and so they have a festival in Banff every year, and then they go and have screenings around the world. And I wanted to do that, and so I create kind of the best of the festival. It's usually the best short film, so it's about a 2 hour of film time, and I work with local hosts around the world in their communities, and they pay a licensing fee, and they license they have the hosting rights, so they host it in their own community. They would organize the theater, they would do the marketing, sell the tickets, things like that, and we would give to them, like I like to call, a festival in a box. And so we support them in hosting the festival. We get the films to them. We give them a script for the event. We give them all the media kit, all the marketing material, things like that, and support them in running it. And so last year we were expected about 15 stops on the world tour, and a bunch of those had to get canceled kind of after March, but hopefully they'll pick up in the new year, and it's going for years. And in the next 3 to 5 years, I want to see it take over the world. I want to see 100, 200 screenings around. It's there's not a community in the world that doesn't have a vegan group in it these days.
True.
And so with translations and that, there's no reason we can't spread our love around.
Yeah, I agree. So, can you share about some of what these films are and what they're about? I mean, I know you can go to the website and do that, but so the people that just don't want to take that time and then we can just convince them that this is something they want to do. So, what are some of the movies about?
Yeah, there's tons of great movies from all over the world. They range from some factory farm type stuff, some slaughterhouse type stuff, but a lot of the slaughterhouse stuff is done really well these days, in that it's not just a hidden camera in the corner. The film producers are becoming much more creative in telling a quality story without just blood and guts. Of kind of the challenges of factory farming. There's one that's called a former pig farmer worker tells all, and it's a really really well done short film of a pig farm worker in Saskatchewan, I believe, in Canada, and they really kind of follow him on his journey after he's left that environment, and talks about what it was like working there and what his job prospects were and things like that. Really goes into kind of his life. There's another one out of Germany called Buntenland. That's a really neat one. It follows a cattle farm, and this couple that had run the farm for years. It was a family farm that's been passed down from generations, and they decide over a several year period that they want to get out of the animal agricultural business and move into more of a organic farm sanctuary and an animal sanctuary, and it's the whole process of them switching over their farm. It's a fantastic film. There's another one about Regan Russell. Regan Russell is the activist not too far from us here in Ottawa, from, I believe it's Hamilton, just north or west of Toronto, that was recently killed by a factory farm truck, a slaughterhouse truck, while she was protesting, and it's a devastating story. And they put together some slides and images from Regan's life and put that together. So I'm really happy to be able to show that to support her. There's PETA has their Super Bowl commercial in it. They've learned that the one that actually Fox outlawed from being shown on the Super Bowl. It ended up going on YouTube, but we're going to be showing that. There's a couple other ones from farm sanctuaries. Jane Velez has a countdown to year zero. That's more of environmental focus. There's another one called Acropolis Cow. That's an environmental focus as well from the UK that talks about just kind of the damage that overpopulation of animals are doing to the environment in the UK specifically. It's really well done. So that's just a taste of it. One more, Humans and Elephants, talks about the elephant in tourism industry in Southeast Asia. Yeah, we cover the globe.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. How in the world did you put this together?
Yeah, I ask myself that some days, but yeah, it's just every day is growing and every day is learning. I about 3.5 years ago, probably in the fall of 2017, I was trying to figure out how I could be involved in the plant-based community, how I could be of service to the community using my skills and experiences. I thought about getting into a Vegfest. I come from kind of an event management background, and I enjoy doing events. And at the time, it just wasn't conducive to our family life, having a new baby in the house and the work that takes on that would require. And so I thought, what would be a bit of a smaller commitment? At the time, I thought was going to be a smaller commitment, and that we could do. And I thought, well, maybe knowing about the Banff Mountain Film Festival, maybe there's a film festival out there I can bring to Ottawa for a screening. And I did some research, and I found out there are no film festivals, vegan film festivals anywhere in the world. And so I was shocked with that. I was like, well, I guess this is our opportunity. This is maybe a good time to start one. And so I don't come up from a film background, but I've been learning a lot and talked to some people that have run film festivals, and I talked to some other kind of influencers in the vegan space, and bounced the idea off them to see if I was just a crazy idea or if they thought it would be a good idea, and they all were very positive. There's so many documentaries that have such an impact on people deciding to choose a plant-based lifestyle, and I was shocked that there wasn't, an event to celebrate these types of films. And so that's when I decided to jump into it and go for it.
So when it came to the people who makes the films, because obviously I know what it's like to reach out to companies, people, and businesses for the festival side.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to reaching out to the people who made these films, were they receptive?
Yeah, they were thrilled. They were thrilled that this festival existed. A lot of them were coming to me every now and then. I'll reach out to somebody to see if they're interested in submitting, but a lot of them found it in the vegan media, plant-based news, veg news. Those places have been really supportive of the festival and getting the word out. And yeah, because filmmakers, at the end of the day, they want more people to see their film, and this is another avenue, another great avenue to see, especially people that are sympathetic to what they're producing. Another way to get audiences to see their film, and now globally.
No, that's fantastic. No, because I was curious. Because I mean, I would think it would be the type of thing where they'd be like, "Yes, yeah, okay, you want to show my film? All right." And you want to bring a whole bunch of people together to do it, and then you want to do it like all over the world. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly. They've been very happy with it and very, very supportive with it.
Yeah, that's really neat. Kudos to you for taking this on, because it's a lot. You have a more public facing event than a business side facing event.
Right.
So, which in itself is got challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how many people do you think are going to sign up and watch?
Well, that's the big unknown right now. I'd love to tell you. I'd love to have a 10-year history and say, yep, this is how many we can expect. Probably like similar to your Vegfest, you've been running for so long, you kind of have an idea each year of how many are coming out. But going globally online right now for the first time ever, it's a big unknown. I'd love to have 10,000. I'd love to have 1,000. I'd love to have 500. I'd love, I have no idea how many you're going to do, but I'll tell you that we're not going to leave any stone unturned in terms of trying to get the word out. We're going to have a big social media campaign for sure coming up in the next few weeks. And We've got a bunch of press releases. We had a press release go out in August with our first official announcement, and that was picked up by 7 or 8 different media sources. So we're getting a lot of support from the vegan plant-based media. We've already writing several editorials for magazines, things like that. And so, yeah, we're doing all we can to get the word out. And I appreciate you having me on today to help that even more.
Oh, definitely. And of course, you were just in the plant based spotlight with the Plant Based Network.
Yeah, they did a great article there.
Yeah, it was beautiful too. I shared it. I shared it on the social media as well. In addition to
Thank you.
you shared it, I just shared what you shared.
Hmm.
So if you don't know Plant Based Spotlight, you can go to plantbasedspotlight.com and you can see the second edition of the Plant Based Network's online magazine, of which both of us happen to have something in there. And if
Hmm.
somebody like, where do they buy a ticket? I mean, I don't always do this at the end, but I think we
Yeah.
should do it now and at the end.
Sure. Yeah. And, tickets are probably going to go up on Monday. We're
Okay.
working on that right now as I speak, just finalizing the films and getting the films up on our platform. So they should be up Monday, but you can go to our website and the links will all be there, which is theivff.com. That's theivff.com. And all the information and links are going to be there on our homepage for tickets. And yeah, it's going to be they're going to be up up right up until the film festival ends. It's not just up until the 10th when it starts.
Right.
They'll be going all throughout.
It,
And once you start a film, you'll have 48 hours to watch it. So I should mention that. So you can't just start a film and wait for a week to finish it.
right. It's kind of like renting a film now.
Yeah,
You get
exactly.
48 hours, so make sure you finish watching it. It's not like you don't just have to watch it within the constraints of that day, which is
Yeah,
good to give people
yeah,
48 hours. Now, this sounds like something that would be a great gift. like
yeah.
like your friend that you said, like I would totally, the friend that just wrote to you to say like, hey, I'm ready to make the transition
Mhm.
to plant-based vegan, I would just give him a membership to this. I would say like, here, just watch this for a week, because that would
Yep.
be an amazing way to help someone transition. I Can people buy this for other people?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm going to definitely look into that. I know there's a feature that after you watch a film, it pops up, would you like to gift this to somebody? Which is really cool because when I go to festivals, when I'm hosting them in theaters, that's like the one question I get after all the festivals, like, how can I show these films to people?
Right.
And at the time I didn't have a really good answer. I'm like, well, you've got to go in and talk to the filmmaker, and some of them have them posted, some of them you can rent. It's kind of all over the place, and some are not available. But now for a week they all will be available, and yeah, it's a great idea for a gift, and we'll make sure that that's possible.
That's really cool. And now, just to think forward, because I do marketing as well, to think forward for anyone who does one of the festivals when they finally get back into the theaters, you really need to combine it with a virtual side too,
Hmm.
for
Yeah,
everyone, because
yeah,
then that's it. That's the answer to, can, I watched it, I want to watch it again, because in a theater you can't pause it. Maybe you have to go to the bathroom, you're eating your popcorn, whatever it is that distracts you. Somebody coughs, sneezes, you turned your
hmm,
head. You always miss something. That's why it's great to watch stuff at home and that you can pause things. So, someone may watch something and go, you know what, my husband didn't come with me, but I want to go watch it at home and I want him to see this. And you can be like, well, there's a virtual side too for the week. It's today's the day that you see it in person, but for the
hmm.
weekend, you have a virtual option. So you can just
Yeah,
pay $10 and you can see 5 of the films today.
right. Yeah, no, that's good. We can explore that. It's definitely a fine line between, like, the filmmakers are excited for people to see it and part of the festival, but a lot of them have different distribution rights and different requirements based on how their licensing works for their film and where it's
Yeah.
going and things like that. And so some of it gets a bit tricky, but I'm really happy that they're letting us do it for the week of the festival, and even more than that, we're going to try to make them obviously as accessible as possible, and even for a lot of, we're going to be in communities around the world, but we're not going to be in every community, and there's always going to be people that want to watch that can't make it out.
Exactly. Exactly. And every opportunity, every festival that's out there can always reach people that aren't in that city if they have a virtual and a in-person side. And honestly, the scary part of this is an in theater thing. I don't think we're seeing that in 2021. At least
Yeah,
not in a way that you're not risking getting
yeah,
COVID. So, I mean, yes, theaters are open in some states, and
yeah.
well, you're doing a much better job.
Yeah.
I take that
Yeah.
back. In Canada,
Well, in your country, like it's a big world, so in some countries are opening up for sure more than the U.S. But yeah, we're slowly opening up here in Canada for sure, but not enough for me to want to risk it doing it in October. So yeah,
yeah,
it'll
no.
evolve and it'll all come back eventually.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and I was thinking being more ethnocentric there, thinking of the United States. It was like, wait a second, next year Canada is probably going to be fine. I mean, like what I read in the
Let's hope so.
news, you didn't have a COVID death the other like
Probably
yesterday.
we may not have. Yeah,
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 it was like the first day without one. I think I read like came through my news feed.
yeah,
It was either today or yesterday, and that's
yeah. That's
you
for the whole country. That's big.
yes. How many people live in Canada?
32 million or so.
Yeah, it's just still a few
Yeah,
people. Yeah.
same population as California or so.
Because yeah. So that's in well, it's a testament to the people who live in the country doing the right thing to make it so less people are impacted by a deadly virus so they can, survive and get back to somewhat normal. Uh-oh. There
Hmm.
goes the dog. Oh, it's the mail. So they're going to bark. I'm just put it out there. And the mail goes by pretty quickly. So if we transition over, so everyone knows you could like tickets are going to go up hopefully next week. We'll say next week instead of Monday. So there's tickets will go up next week. I put in the comments the website that you can go to purchase those tickets. It's $10 per day, $50 for the whole block, which is incredibly reasonable for the number of films you'll get to watch. Even if you watch one a day, that's how much you pay that much to go to the movies.
Yeah,
So and see one
it's
film.
$10 per block of films, not
Right.
not per day.
Oh, it's block. Okay, block. So how many
Yeah,
blocks are there?
they're about 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
So if you pay 50, you can watch them all.
right, 50. Okay, so I'm thinking per day. So
Yeah.
is a block is a whole day. Okay, so there's 13. So there's a lot of blocks per day that you can watch. And
Yeah.
I have
And
friends
we're
that
gonna
go,
have some in Spanish
"Oh, that's
this
even
year for the first
better."
time ever. Yeah, we'll have two Spanish blocks, I believe,
That's
which I'm thrilled.
that is incredible. And it's if okay, so to go back to there for one second, hearing impaired, because I have a lot of people that are hearing
Mm-hmm.
impaired who write to me and say, "Will you have sign language people,
Mm-hmm.
sign interpreters at your events?" And it depends. Like, it's expensive to have a sign language interpreter,
Mm-hmm.
but we have had them. Is there closed captioning?
I believe there is. Yeah, I'm 70% positive there is. I'm definitely going to check on that, but that's a good point. I remember seeing that recently. Again, this is our first year with our platform that we're using. It's called Eventive, and so it's a learning in progress for us. But I believe I saw that feature and I saw a discussion on that, so I think that is going to be possible.
Oh, that's great because it is important. It is
Hmm.
very important. You want to give
Absolutely.
access to as many people as possible, and for the hearing impaired, they should be able to watch
Hmm.
in the movies as well because
For
there
sure.
actually are people in the vegan plant based community that are hearing impaired.
Absolutely.
I mean, in our community, I know in New Jersey, when New Jersey Vegfest had their event, they had sign language interpreters for the whole education day each day. So
Wow.
that was incredibly impressive because you need a lot because it's a very tiring thing. So they
Hmm.
swap out every 30 minutes or so. So
Hmm.
when you have a 6 7 hour day, you're
Yeah.
constantly swapping out. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So to
Okay.
pivot over, I mean, we'll pivot over to podcast
Hmm.
because you've got a new podcast with Ronnie.
Yeah. Yeah, Ronnie Gandiza from the CEO of the Plant Based Network, who you're very familiar with. Yeah, we teamed up, and I've just launched a podcast called Plant Based Profits Show. And it's funny, I thought about I've been thinking about doing kind of a business-based, plant-based podcast for a long time, and Ronnie and I talked about it maybe a year ago, and it was like, nah, I got a bit too much going on, and now is not the time. And then when COVID hit, I was like, and the world tour screenings were canceling, and I was like, what else can we do that's going to be COVID resistant? So I said, oh, maybe that was the time for the podcast. So back in March, we had this idea, and thought maybe it would launch in June once we decided to go for it. And here we are, September, and I'm in 4 weeks out from the festival, and now the podcast launches. So it's all happening at once. But it's great. We did interviews throughout the summer, and we still do interviews now. We're continuing to do them. But we launched last week on the podcast, but it's also going to be a TV show on the Plant Based Network, which is launching this week coming up. So that's really exciting. All the interviews were done on Zoom, and the focus is successful plant-based business owners, and really diving deep with them and finding out their story. Most of the podcast episodes are an hour to 90 minutes long, so they're kind of extended format, and we take a deep dive into these entrepreneurs. Some of them in business 20, 30 years, some 3, 5, 10 years, but we really dive into their story. We find out about their history, their childhood, their parents, what made them who they are. And I like to think of it as a 360-degree view of these people. And the idea is to highlight these really success stories and these successful people, but also to bring it back to allow the listeners to think, that could be me. When they see Steve Damos, who founded Silk and White Wave and the soy milk empire and sold it for $300 million, like, well, I could never do that. I've just got a little mom and pop shop here. But they don't know the story that he sold tofu for 17 years, barely making a profit before he pivoted into the soy milk world and skyrocketed. We just did 3 hours of interview time with Seth Tibbett from Tofurkey. So we got a 2-part episode with that, but 3 hours, we covered a lot. He's been out a lot the last year or so, promoting his book, but I really wanted to dive deep with Seth and try to get some questions and some ideas that maybe he hasn't been talking about before, sharing before. And so we dove deep with him. We have Dale Vince on, who's the founder and owner of Ecotricity, the largest green energy company in the UK, and the owner and founder of, not the founder, the chairman of the first all vegan football club in England, professional football club. And Chris Kerr, who's one of the most prolific plant-based investors with New Crop Capital, and he's kind of the go-to person that people, when they want to get into the plant-based investing community, they touch base with him, and we had a great talk with him. So those are just a few of the names we've got coming out starting off, and we look forward to it growing.
That's like really cool. So, can you give us like some of the best info, best advice you've heard from some of these people that you've interviewed?
Yeah, some of the things I think about, it's like, a lot of them talk about overnight success, or like the 20-year overnight success. And entrepreneurs these days, I think, are so impatient. And if it's not working within a year or within months, they're off to the next thing. And then when you talk to these people that have been in business for quite a while and that are a success, they've had many failures along the way, and they've been at it for, quite a long time. And a lot of times, or most times, success never comes overnight. And it's just like, if you put the work in and you grind daily and aren't afraid to pivot, that's the other lesson you get for sure, is pivoting. Seth Tibbett, his whole thing was for years was making tempeh. He made tempeh for 12 or 13 years as a tempeh business. And then one day someone, came to him with a vegan roast, and he's like, hey, that's pretty good. And lo and behold, a year or two later, they come out with Tofurkey. I think pivoting and just like putting the work in, and knowing that it's not going to happen overnight, and that's okay.
It's true. This year, if anything, this year has to show people who are in business that you have to be on your toes. You have to pivot. You have to figure out where to go, what to do, and just keep going, because when you don't know, you never know when something's going to blow up and become like the next big thing. And maybe it won't ever be the next big thing, but it'll be enough of a thing for you that it's your big thing, and that's okay. Whatever you do, the most important thing to me is make sure you're happy and you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
And from there, success comes.
Yeah, and that's one of the big differences I find that separates plant-based entrepreneurs than other entrepreneurs, is that there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are passion focused, but that's almost, if not 99%, almost 100% of the plant-based business owners I talk to are extremely passionate about their business. There's business owners I know personally that they like business. They don't really care about the product they're selling. They like the game of business, and they do it because this product is selling at the time, and they get into business for that reason. But plant-based entrepreneurs, like, I love Miyoko says, she often says the comment of, I'm not a business with a mission, I'm a mission with a business. And I would say that's true for most of the people I end up speaking with.
It is, because it's more than just selling stuff. It's
Hmm.
about the stuff that's being sold or peddled or you're eating or whatever it is. The ideas that you're sharing, the movies that you're viewing are to help save the planet, to save animals, to save people's lives.
Exactly.
And that's where that passion comes from. And it's where it's nice to wake up every day and do stuff that that's making a difference, that you're planting seeds, that you get that 20-year longing phone call from somebody who says, I'm ready to make a change. Granted, the thing that precipitated that was a bad doctor's visit saying you need to make changes.
Right.
But that's a lot of people's journeys. A lot of people make the decision to go plant based, go vegan, start exercising because they went to the doctor,
Absolutely. Yeah,
right?
for sure.
It depends on what the season are. Some people they watch the documentaries
Hmm.
and they said, that's it. That I kind of knew this was happening, but now I saw it's happening. I saw what exactly is happening. I can't contribute to that. And then,
Yeah.
of course, the planet's burning, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and for me right now, I really want to get people more like, I want climate to be more juicy in the sense of people
Hmm.
understanding like how important it is, because
Hmm.
I've had some really incredible discussions on climate live, and they weren't really well attended, and I'm
Hmm.
shocked because climate. And I was like,
Right.
this is our planet. We won't have one. So what are we supposed to do? I mean, if you don't like, if we don't have a planet, we don't live. So I have a question from Luke and from Craig about, when's a Vegfest, question mark.
No, it
And
says what's a veg fest.
and then Craig says, what's a Vegfest? So there's
Right.
two comments.
Yeah.
So in regards to this being virtual Vegfest, this is taking the physical events that we used to do in person and putting the education part online. So, because all of my events that are in person, I have an education part. So these talks kind of lend into that. And then a Veg Fest is a vegan festival, a festival that has only vegan options that we have in person with vendors and speakers and music and lots of food. And just think any festival that you would go to, but we call it a Veg Fest because it's all vegan. And that's what a Veg Fest is. And I'm not sure if that answers what both of you wanted to know, but yes, vegan. So, not sure who's joined in. Okay, thank you. Oh, that is Ace. So I got two people. It's really weird. It's almost like they're the same. There's three people now. What's going on? Sorry, what'd you say? All right, so. All right. So the other thing, and that lends us kind of into, that kind of lends us into, you never know what's gonna happen. Dilip, right? Like, because
Well,
you
yeah.
had Code Blue on, right?
Yep.
When I was with Dilip live, there was a comment that was very off, and Dilip is like the most purest person in the world. So of all the people, for there to be like an off comment like that, it's pretty funny that it says. And once again, we're live, so you just never know. But I do have someone in the other room who can go and manage the comments, so that's really cool. But transitioning from, we're talking about health, and what's important is that people, it's not just health, it's de-stressing, it's exercise, it's the food that you put into your body. And I learned, looking you up, because I mean, we're talking to you, but looking you up, you're a you're a triathlete.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been doing kind of endurance sports, I guess, most all of my adult life. Well, yeah, I started, I guess, in high school doing triathlons, and over the years moved into marathons and Ironmans, and in the last few years moved into ultra marathons. And last summer, I did my first 100-mile trail race run in the Canadian Rockies. So it's yeah, endurance sports has been a big part of my life.
Well, I mean, 100 miles. Do you know Sid Garza Hillman?
I don't know.
I need to hook you up. He's an ultra marathoner,
Oh
and
yeah.
he actually has an ultra marathon race that he puts on
Oh
in
wow.
in California, Northern
Hmm.
California, and it didn't happen this year, which is the first. It's sad that it didn't
Sure.
happen, obviously, because of COVID, and it sells out every time.
Oh
But
wow.
he also has a podcast. He's ultra cool. I have a
Yeah.
live with him if you want to go watch
Oh
it.
yeah.
And I would definitely want to hook you up because I mean, you're very similar actually. And
Right on.
he's been to my events, he's spoken live, and I didn't know. I mean, I've met him, he's kind of subdued, he's sitting talking with them, he's chill. And then he got on stage and he lit up.
Oh
And
yeah.
just dynamic. And I was like, "Who
Wow.
are you?" So I mean, I've stayed in the same house. It's very funny, and he was supposed to come out this year and be part of some of the events, and that happened. But I would definitely love to put you two together. I think that'd
Sure.
be awesome. And then okay, so you can see the comments too. So I think we're going to ignore them. So, but yeah, so the athlete thing, incredibly important exercise, 100 miles. Oh my goodness. So I took up, this running thing because of COVID.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in my house.
Good.
Yeah, it's pretty
Good.
cool. Yeah, I mean, it started with like 2 minutes, and now I'm up to over 30. So
Awesome. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's every bit's better. I always say a short run's better than a no run.
yeah, I get it. I totally get it now. So, I mean, this whole pandemic thing has helped me to improve my health, and that's, you know, I have to turn anything negative into a positive. It's just my personality. So, this has been a blessing.
Mhm.
And then, of course, just figuring out how to survive
Yeah.
on top
Yeah.
of that. So, it's all good. So, let's
Yeah.
see.
That's great. Yeah. No, it's fantastic. I think diet is one thing, but you need to move the body as well to stay healthy and happy.
Right, exactly. So, is there anything else that you'd like to share with everyone?
I don't know. No, I think we've covered a lot. I think I really excited about the festival coming up and seeing everybody there. And if anybody has any comments or questions or suggestions, you can get in touch with us on our website. And like I said, tickets will be up by Monday for sure. And yeah, come on out, check out these amazing new films. Most of them I would say you probably haven't seen. They've all are new within the last 3 years. And yeah, look forward to it.
No, I think that's great. And I really appreciate your coming on and spending part of your Saturday with us. And I will make
Oh, and
sure.
get your t-shirts.
Oh, that's right. Yes, virtualadventurous.com. You can buy the International Vegan Film Festival shirts. They look really cool. Recycled fabric, tagless, and shipping to Canada is in there. And honestly, it's not inexpensive. But, and Sean's going to add information about the festival onto the site so you know like what you're supporting when
Hmm.
you buy a shirt. Because, I mean, everything costs money to do. And,
Yeah.
shirts are just one of those ways to be a walking advertisement for the festival and for what you do. A cool shirt, and you help out not just because it's on Virtual Vegfest, Triangle Vegfest, and Plant Based Network, but you help out the International Vegan Film Festival as well, and that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I really appreciate it. But so I'm gonna go into my final thing. Sean, thank you so much. As
Yeah.
we see the comments coming through. But I hope you have a great rest of your day and
You too.
and let me know anything I can do to help you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on and taking some time today. And yeah, we'll be in touch for sure. And we'll see you at the festival.
Okay, definitely. Thank you. Bye, Sean.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye. So, everyone, thank you once again for watching Virtual Vegfest Live. We really appreciate it. And as we typically close out, please wear a mask over your nose, under your chin. I have an example right here. Let me see if I can do it right. Wear your mask over your ears. Make sure you do that because it's really important. And be safe and take care of one another because we're all responsible for each other to help get through a pandemic, no matter where you are in the world. And of course, poll workers, I've been talking about them too. There's a shortage of them in this country, in the United States, and we have a very important election coming up. And if you're interested in working the polls and getting paid, go to your state election board and ask them, how do I do this? And sign up because typically the people who work the polls are older and they're not coming out because it's too dangerous with the pandemic. So we just want you to, if you want to work the polls, make it so that people don't have to wait half their day or a full day to cast their vote. And that would be awesome. So stay safe, take care of yourselves. Next week, absolutely no idea who is on next week. Let's see. Oh, it looks like Erin Fergus, I think, is on Thursday. And Chef Suni is doing a cooking demo on Saturday. Everything's at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And have a great rest of your weekend. Bye, everyone.